a self-help guide for people who don't think it will work for them. Do you feel like self-help sounds good, but it won't really work for you? Then that is the person who needs to be watching this video today. But first, please send your validation my way so that I can inhale it. Do so by subscribing to the YouTube channel and hitting the notification bell so that you can get more videos every weekday. All other platforms, please like, comment, love. Make me feel happy with your validation. Okay. I get why a lot of people don't feel like self-help is going to work for them. You can go through so many different experiences in your life, and if too many of them don't go your way, if too many of them begin to create this perception that you don't have what it takes to be successful, you don't have what it takes to be motivated, you kind of have this cemented idea that you are mediocre or that you are a loser or that you just are incapable of change, because we often use the past as reference experiences. Always. Every time we're about to make a new decision or we're trying to level up in life, we go back into our memory and we look for the references of when we tried to do it before and failed, when we didn't try at all and just remained mediocre, or when we just let distractions and everything get in our way to where the point where we can't do anything. So most people genuinely think that even the content of self-help is good, but they think that they are not capable of doing it, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, this sounds good, but you don't understand my situation. I don't have what it takes. And I can just tell you from experience that you can go from the content not clicking at all to all of a sudden it clicking in a positive way for you. So, I've talked about my past. In an article I wrote about it, I talked about some of the past experiences I had that led to me believing that self-improvement wasn't something that was meant for me. Like, I went to jail. You see this? Here's a scar on my arm. I don't know if you can see it if I angled it at the camera. One time when I was in a party that I threw in college, I got so drunk, I drank 2 full liters of vodka, 2 bottles of champagne, and I just randomly got angry and put my arm through a window. Needed 40 stitches. A friend of mine had to put his thumb into my arm, inches deep, to keep me from bleeding while the ambulance came. The entire right pants leg of my pants was soaked in blood. I went through all these experiences when I was in college, when I was just being a royal screw up, right? And I had a mentor who would try to reach me, but he understood that there would be a point where I would come around, right? So he didn't try to continue to shove the message and tell me that I needed to improve my life, because at the time I wasn't trying to hear it. At the time, I was living in a whole different paradigm to where it just couldn't reach through. So he just kind of stood back and let me make the mistakes until there was a point where it did hit me, where I did realize I didn't want to be a loser anymore, where I did come around. And then when I was ready to come around, that mentor that I had in school, he was right there and he didn't judge me. He accepted the transformation that I was trying to make, and he could see that it was sincere. And he knew that the change in me wasn't going to happen and that he wasn't going to be able to help me until it was really sincere. And that's why I put these messages out there. I know many of the times it's going to go in one ear and out the other for a lot of you. I know for a lot of you listening to this, it's going to be like, yeah, I know. It sounds good. It sounds good. And that's why I never try to pressure anybody into viewing this kind of content, why I don't judge people for viewing or listening to this content or not, why I don't get on people super bad about not making the change right away. Sometimes it's just going to take, some people don't come around. First of all, let me tell you that. Some people don't come around, and there is that chance of that happening, even for you. But when you do come around, I'm going to be here with open arms. I know that you have those experiences in the past where you feel like you are incapable of making a change. You're going to be in such a low level of mind state and paradigm sometimes where you're just going to push self-improvement to the side because you have so much going on that you can't even zoom out to see the bigger picture. And it's not going to be until you zoom out and see the bigger picture of your life that things are going to change. And when or if that epiphany will hit strong enough to the point where you decide to change, I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know. But I know that it can happen. You see people at all different ages and income brackets and demographics that just one day they just come around. And it happens at different points. It happened for me about the age of 25. But then there's some people who maybe might go their entire life, 3/4 of their life is over, and they're like, shit, okay, maybe I need to give this a full shot. So when you think deep down that self-improvement won't work for you, just understand that, if you like my content, you are following the content of a guy who put a hole in a window and a hole in his arm at the same time, a guy who dropped out of college, a guy who went through a semester and got a 0.0 GPA, a guy who used to drink and smoke 7 days a week, a guy who's essentially done every drug except for cocaine, or not done cocaine, except for heroin and crack, a guy who squandered years of his life, a guy who was so lazy that he once paid his friends to wash his dishes for him, a guy who threw his life away for the most part, and then found a way to turn it around. So use this guy as an example. A lot of people look at me now and, I don't know, they're in awe of my productivity and creativity and what I've been able to put out, but they wouldn't even want to come near the person that I used to be. You wouldn't even want to associate with the person that I used to be. Trust me. So there's always room for growth. There's always room for growth, even when you're coming from the depths of darkness and depression and anxiety and life circumstances, or not even the depths, but rather the middle path of feeling mediocre and stagnant for such a long time that it cements you into thinking you can't change. There are so many different angles that happen in life. Everyone has their own unique set of problems. Everyone has their own mental prison that they are trying to escape from. And you are the only person who has the key. I'm here just to let you know that you are the person who has the key to making that change. And you can turn that lock in an instant. You can turn it today. But odds are it won't happen this instant. Odds are it won't happen immediately. Odds are you might go for a long period of time where the content goes in one ear and out the other, but there can be a time where it's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done doing this. I'm done living like this. There can come a point where you're just like, either just so extremely inspired that you're like, yes, I'm going to go for it. Or you're like, no, this won't be my life. So whatever way that you got to come to find that realization, I do hope you find it. And I am going to be here for years to come to help you find it because I know how hard it is. I know the sugar-coated idea of self-improvement doesn't work, which is why I'm going to keep persisting until that change happens for you. Okay, You 2.0 is the name of my book. I don't have it in front of me today, but You 2.0, go get that. YouTube, comment, subscribe, like, all of the platforms. Validate me. I will see you on the next video.